Hey guys, thank you for watching. This is Albert. My YouTube channel is Breaking Burke, and it is about houseplants and gardening here in the desert of Albuquerque, New Mexico. In today's video, I wanted to share with you some propagations that I'm repotting, or actually potting up. They've been in water for a while, some of them longer than I care to admit, but I think it's like 6 months. But it is a harder plant to root, and this was said to be reverted, so I didn't have much faith in it anyway, and it proved me wrong and threw out some roots. And actually has a surprise for me because it looks like it's going back to what it should have looked like. So just a little 4-inch pot. This is a used one. It will regain shape once you put soil in it. And I always like to smash the soil down at the bottom. That way it doesn't wash out and it doesn't sink on you, because it will happen. They'll compact. So the first one I think I'm going to do is the one that was said to be reverted. Got to do this carefully. Now here's one of the reverted leaves, and it looks like just a basic heartleaf philodendron, or green. Look at the length of the roots. This variety is harder to root than the regular heartleaf, and it definitely did prove that. And here's another one. You can see 2 tiny little leaves popping out there. But nice, healthy, long roots. And the last one here is the one that has a bit of a surprise for us, because the mature leaf is just basic green, but the new leaf from the node down here looks like silver stripe again. So hopefully it will go back to what it was before and put out the nice silver striped leaves. If not, a green heartleaf is still pretty. I have a couple, but I'm sure I could find a spot for another one if I had to. You know, torture myself that way. But yeah, you see it in there. I just wrapped the roots around, and now I'll fill it with soil. Oh, sorry about that. Make sure this little guy doesn't get buried too deep in there. And with a little leaf like that on a node, by covering it with soil, that's not going to be too detrimental to it. That little tiny leaf might rot off, but it's not really a leaf anyway. It didn't have no shape to it. So that's okay, it will still bounce back and grow through. Push this down a little and then water it in. But we do have more to go, so I'll just put that to the side. Next here I have coleus. Now this is one of those plants that is a bit nostalgic, and my mom wanted because her mom had one, and you can see it does have a nice healthy root system. So we'll put that to the side and get a pot. And so we don't have any dead air. I think I'll tell you a couple things about where I live here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. It is part of the US. A lot of people believe that it is part of Mexico. A couple hundred years, probably like 300 plus years ago, we may have been part of Mexico, but we're actually won over by the US, so borders cross or move. They're not there permanently, or at least in the past they hadn't been. Who knows? And this, we're just gonna come and make sure we fill it in everywhere. And the funny thing is, when settlers came way back in the day, they settled in usually the mountain towns, because as they would back in the day, they would go to the highest peak. That way, if they seen any intruders coming, they could be prepared for them. So if you go to these little towns here in New Mexico, you can actually still see the old adobe houses with lower entrance doors, so people can't go in as easy, and 2-foot thick walls of adobe, so they're bulletproof. There are a couple towns that still have their old 300-400-year-old city center, which is usually built in the shape of a square. That way, if they had to, they could all go to the city center and fight for their home, which wasn't uncommon back then. Actually, where my grandma grew up, here's a Brazil Philodendron. This is actually the one from Kellie's Hoyas. That was her mom's. Beautiful plant. Nice healthy roots. This has only been maybe a month or two in water, and the last one was 6 months, and see the length, how quick the Brazil roots and how slow the silver stripe roots. Same plant, just, you know, one of them got a little bit of a change to the color and is more expensive and rare and slower and develops different features. But yeah, anyway, back to what I was saying. Where my grandma grew up was a little fort town in the mountains, and they actually didn't get electricity out there while she was young and living there. She would tell me that they would have to put things out on the roof, because since they lived in the mountain, that was the coldest place, was outside on the roof. That's where they'd keep stuff fresher longer. And when I was younger, we'd actually go out there and visit family that she still had out there, which was pretty neat. Beautiful areas in New Mexico. If you ever get a chance, come through, even if it's looking at the rivers or the mountains, or there are definitely views you can appreciate. And the last one we have here is, what is it called? Micans. I was thinking velvet heartleaf, but I mean that's basically what it is. But it's called micans. This one, from my experience, micans root a lot slower. This one I've had in water for a couple months, and I'm tired of checking on the water level. You can see this one's barely starting to grow. So I'm just going to put it in soil and hope for the best. That's what I did with my last one, and it's growing decently now. And you can see this one has a bad leaf, but the node and the roots are good on it, so we'll just stick it in there too. There are actually a lot of places where you can go here in New Mexico and see old ruins of either Pueblo sites or where they used to go set up when they came with explorers back in the day. And there are still old stagecoach stops and stuff along the way too, so if you're into old deserted things, it's really fun. Now this doesn't look all that great, but it will survive. It will pull through, and now that it's in soil, it'll actually get nutrients. I don't fertilize my stuff in water. Some people do. I've never had good experience with it, so I don't do it. Remember, do what works for you. I'm going to move this bucket and put the plants that we potted there so we can see what we did today. And these are all cuttings that stood in water probably too long, but hey, they're good. They're growing, doing what plants do. But I hope you enjoyed this video, maybe learned that New Mexico is part of the U.S. still. One of the last states to join, but hey, we did it. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and have a great day. Thank you for watching.